that, but
it's like an old Jerome Bettis stat line when he would have 3 carries and 3 touchdowns for 1 yard.
Brownlee may have gotten a piece of that swing, and it's off the hands of the receiver, Noah Chambers. Another chance for Ben Katz and John Randolph in this Empire D-line. It's like, who wants it? Brownlee for Fortin. And again, no resistance whatsoever from Austin's offense after the turn.
Brownlee double clutched the pass into the end zone. He didn't think it was going to be there, and then he realized, no, it's still there. Now I'll throw it. And there's just been zero resistance from the Austin O-line defense in the red zone. And another just sloppy error from the Seoul offense. And watch, pump, oh, no, it's still there. Wide open.
How has this happened? I mean, how is it 2-0 Austin and now 10-4 New York?
I think it was a red herring that it was 2-0. I think New York's offense was a little nervy, didn't know exactly what to expect from the Austin defense. A couple early mistakes in a short field situation, but then they've stabilized, and this is what they've done all season, Evan.
I think that you're just seeing the Austin throwers lack confidence into the wind, not knowing what shape, what touch to put on it.
Kyle Henke got a touch there in the backfield, but he's been a non-factor so far, and another throw that really didn't have a chance behind the intended target, off Wiley's hand. Oliver Chartok picks up, breaks the mark to Mike Drost. See if the Soul can show a little fight here. Well, we're getting a contact call on the mark. Wiley fouled Chartok, and Oliver will march off the 10.
You can just see the swirling wind. I mean, I think that's the biggest factor in this game, is Austin doesn't know how to deal with that. The New York's defense is obviously phenomenal, but
nice throw. Oliver Chartok around the defense. Shankalati to Mike Drost. Second goal of the half for the veteran Mike Drost, who's playing in his 21st playoff game today, the most in AUDL history.
I mean, if you're just turning this game on, you just don't realize how crazy it was at the start. It was all Austin for the first 3 minutes of this game, and since then, 11-2 run for New York, complete domination, and the Austin offense can't get off the field. I mean, they can't complete passes. And as we take a look at a beautiful shot of downtown Minneapolis, outside TCO Stadium here in Eagan, Minnesota.
facilities are great here.
Beautiful.
And there's a big time feel to this event, and it's a feel that takes some getting used to as a player. And this is the 5th straight year that New York's at championship weekend. You know, later tonight we're seeing a couple first-timers, both Minnesota and Salt Lake, their first ever appearance at championship weekend of the Wind Chill, have played one game at this facility before. See if that, along with the home crowd, makes a difference. Nearly a Callahan for Marquez Brownlee, but a little fight from Jake Radak, laying out to get it back as Brownlee turns it on the goal line to gift it right back to the Soul. And now Radak with a missile across the field. That was really a difficult throw.
And obviously the level of New York's defense is higher than anything we've seen from anybody in the South Division this season, but this is still kind of a mean reversion for Austin. This is the kind of turnovers we saw from them throughout the regular season before they caught fire in the playoffs, and you just can't have these kinds of errors against a team as good as the Empire.
Pretty good handler defense there. Radak wants to shoot it deep. He will. Randolph chasing Switek. There was certainly contact, but there's no whistle.
I mean, Randolph was in front of Swiatek, but I think he impeded Swiatek's ability to make a play on the disc. Definitely could have been whistled.
I was surprised there wasn't a foul call there. John Randolph definitely got position, like you said, but made contact without making a play on the disc.
Antoine Davis lets it rip. Intended for Breton Tan. Pushed from behind by Noah Chambers. Jeff Babbitt says, "I'll take that." He's in the end zone for his 6th goal of the game. Where did he come from?
That disc kept hanging and hanging and hanging, and then after that, it was inevitable. It was inevitable. Jeff Babbitt in the deep space, you let that disc hang up long enough, there's just nobody better. It feels automatic. Because most of the time it is. I want to take a clip over the last 3 years of Jeff Babbitt in 50-50 scenarios and look at the percentage, because I'm pretty sure it's 95% or higher.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the early one in the Colorado game when Sandy Brown got the better of him deep, and it was so surprising. And you're right, Brian, it does feel like a 90% shot. This just is just ugly from the Austin offense.
And that's foul on John Randolph.
I agree.
That's a bad break for Austin. But then another hanger. And Babbitt has plenty of time to come into the play.
Yeah, Chambers picked the wrong guy to box out there. 12-4. It's a 12-2 run. And look, I mean, it was a 3-2 game with 4:46 to go in the first quarter. Since then, 10-1 for the New York Empire. Matthew Armour, the only member of this Austin team that has any championship weekend playing experience coming into today. Got that experience, of course, with Dallas. For a long time, Austin was the little brother in the Texas scene. They are now the top dog in the Lone Star State. And that shot will be caught by Mark Hankey. And he'll dish the score to the birthday boy. A birthday goal for Oliver Fay, who turns 26 years old today. Happy birthday, Oliver.
They put a D-line out in the field, and they just play catch. It's that simple sometimes when it's going this wrong. You just need to keep recycling and find people who still have that confidence and have that energy. When we've seen it, that these throws are difficult, and they get away with one there. It's not pretty. There are just no answers that a coach can come up with in this situation. There's just none. The only one I know of, the only famous example I know of, comes back in the women's division with a team down 8-1 and coming back to win a national championship. And that's when you throw zone and you hope.
It's worth pointing out, Austin has been down in every game in this postseason. Now, they haven't been down by 7, but they came back against teams that were favored against them. So, see if their defense can find some more magic.
As this point began, there was virtually no wind. Now it's picked back up a little bit again, swirling down on the field.
And I gotta say, Austin's defense is doing well and making New York struggle a little bit as we see a tip disc.
And Broadbeck got a piece of it. Caught by Weinberg anyway.
This defense really knows how to take them out of rhythm.
Osgar shooting it for Yacht. Wiley giving chase. Yacht sizes it up and dropped it. He's looking for a foul.
Yeah, if they're not calling it on the other side, we saw the contact between Randolph and Swiatek. I don't think they're calling that one.
May have been a foul, but I also feel like Ben probably feels he should have caught it. And when you're down this big, you can't just think about calling a timeout to get your O-line out there. Plus, the O-line has not been playing well. Let the D-line work. Stradowski is going to shoot the backhand. Reese Bowman with work to do on the goal line. It's a must score here for Austin, and Stradowski has the wobbler. Austin's first break here in this second quarter, and they're within 6. Maybe they can build off that.
You've seen some good possessions from their D-line offense. I mean, get the 2 early breaks. They work the whole field here. D-line comes out on the field, gets a hold in place of the offensive line. And, you know, maybe there's some contact there, but it didn't look like enough to constitute a foul.
I think that's a pretty clear foul. I mean, there are times when Yacht doesn't come up with it, but that one was getting pushed back into it, and Wiley did not make a play on the disc. But we saw the same thing down on the other side of the field. You made the point earlier. The refs are letting him play.
And this is not the NFL. You don't have to get your head around and look at the disc.
That's true.
Jackson Potts with a backhand pull. Elliot Chartok will scoop it up. Matt Armour sets the mark. 3 minutes remaining in this first half. Austin jumped in front 2-0 with back-to-back breaks in the opening minutes. And then they turned into a pumpkin, for a lack of a better words. That's a foul.
Yacht's getting frustrated. They've been playing very physical on Ben Yacht all game.
And Yacht turns it over on the first throw after the foul. Armour with the interception. Got a couple blocks in the half. Colin Fort, Potts finds him. Armour swings the disc, it continues to float. Mark Henke makes the play, and then Jackson Potts throws the score for Oliver Fay, who gives Yacht a little stare and celebrates another score for the Austin Soul.
Like we've said, the defensive line for Austin came to play. They just have to find ways to keep staying on the field. Don't let the offense come back. And they're ramping up the physicality a little bit, and they had to make some incredible plays just to save possession. But they're finding their confidence again. They're finding that energy.
Oh, too small on Ben Yacht. And, you know, they clearly want to try to rattle Ben Yacht. And you saw the contact there. He gets the whistle, but it becomes a stop-this situation. He's showing some frustration and promptly turns it over. That's why they're doing that.
So it's a 3-0 run for Austin to transform a 8-goal deficit into a 5-goal deficit. We got 2:07 remaining in the first half. Empire have turned it 10 times. Austin has turned it 16 times. And the Empire did take a timeout to get some rest for their O-line after the consecutive breaks.
All 3 timeouts this half have been used in between points.
You never see that.
A D-liner's dream. They're not being called off the field.
I don't think either team wants to put its O-line on the field right now. Another look
Nice
at a
play by
couple of
Mark
contested plays. Oh, what a great catch. The backside of the disc.
Pretty good atmosphere here at TCO Stadium. And the night just getting started. We'll see Minnesota play in front of their home fans against the Salt Lake Shred later tonight. Salt Lake undefeated all season long except for their game against the New York Empire. Minnesota Winchell, the Central Division champs for the first time. Sideline roller pull here.
This wind is just playing tricks on the throwers. It's making the short throws really hard, but it's kind of a weird throws wind for Hawks where you're just able to blast deep.
Weinberg had Lithio going long, but he holstered and now finds himself in some trouble, but he was bumped by the double team.
You can see that Weinberg would have thrown that in no wind. He would have let that rip, but there's a question on both sides for New York and Austin of how do I put the edge on this disc? I'm not sure if I should throw this one.
Empire 3 for 5 in their hucks. Solar 5 for 10.
That shiftiness from Jack Williams is so much fun to watch.
Oscar almost overthrew Rushmeyer Bailey, but SRB accelerates for the score.
It's very difficult right now for the offenses to get what they want because of these wind conditions. And, you know, you see a wide open John Lithia get looked off by a handler. Shocking, but how about SRB's concentration? The defender coming into the space. Great catch. Rushmeyer Bailey. And that's a throw, too, that may have dropped a bit more than Oscar expected because of the wind.
Just the second assist for Oscar. He's got 3 first-half throwaways to his ledger here in the semifinals. Three different players in the game have 3 throwaways. Oscar, and then Austin's 2 main handlers, Jake Radak, Duncan Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald played the first quarter, Radak did not.
Yeah, not a great start for Radak here in his first quarter of play.
He's got 4 completions, 3 throwaways heading into this point. Contingent of New York fans chanting for defense, and they get defense courtesy of Brent Tan. Remember 6 years ago how good he was at championship weekend as a member of the Toronto Rush?
He's been a huge addition to this D-line.
Marquez Brownlee for Ryan Drost, and the Empire have their 10th break of the game.
There are 21 goals in this game. 14 of them have been breaks. And how many players for the Empire have a layout D at this point? They have 9 blocks as a team. That's a big number for the entirety of the game. It's incredible to see that in a single half of play.
You just can't say enough about the wind, and the reason is that this is just a different type of wind than we usually face. It's swirling, and so it doesn't operate in a consistent manner. And so what this is saying is, if you're not going to throw hard, if you're going to throw to space and throw soft, it's going to hang in the air. And cutters, you can see it for Austin especially, they're not going to the disc hard. And it hangs in the air, and they're being run underneath by the Empire defenders. It's one of those things that it's so hard to figure out in this moment. Like Fitzgerald is slapping his hands going, what do I need to do? Because that's a throw that's open and normally out to space, but because it hangs, because it slows down, it makes all the difference.
Throw to space, look out, Antoine Davis comes flying in to steal it away from Henke, who thought he was open. Brownlee, hammer for Katz, good night. New York beats the buzzer with a brilliant D-line performance in this first half of championship weekend. As good as it gets from the New York Empire. They're on pace to score 30.
Domination. Domination to get the blocks. How many layout Ds have we seen? How many run-through blocks have we seen? And then after that, the fast break, it's over. It's over before it begins.
Any hope for the soul? Getting annihilated at the end of the first half. 15-7 New York.
The route is on here in the first semifinal of Championship Weekend 12 at TCO Bank Stadium in Minnesota. The New York Empire have a 15-7 lead on the South Division champion Austin Soul here in the first half of the first semifinal. Gentlemen, that was an incredibly sloppy first half, and I don't think the win, Alex, did either of these offenses any favors.
No, definitely affected. I think nerves come to play a little bit as well. But yeah, the offenses didn't look great. I think New York's offense was able to look a little better because the key is just getting your D-line back on the field right now. Whichever D-line has been on the field has been having success, and New York's has been having a lot of success.
So the Austin D-line had that early success. That group catapulted out to a 2-0 lead. New York's offense looked a little shaky. And then from there, it was a 7-1 run for the New York Empire. This is something that we've come to expect from this group. Tuba, what changed in Austin's performance over the course of that first quarter and between what you saw in the South Division Championship and the display that they put on here in the first half?
Yeah, it's very evident, Ian, that Austin is there's a lot of nerves in this game, right? So first time. On this level, and they're having just fundamental breakdowns where some of the things that they got them here are not what they're doing, right? A lot of drops, a lot of big swings across the field that they would not usually do, and it's causing turnovers. They have a lot of unforced errors right now. Now, granted, early on in the first quarter, New York kind of took it to them with a lot of pressure on the handlers, right? But then from there, Austin has kind of been their own worst enemy right now.
What do you think Jake Radak's absence meant to that offense? Was that a deal breaker in the first quarter, or just kind of, hey, this was another thing that happened and that wasn't necessarily going to turn the tide?
I mean, honestly, it's one of those things coming out. I like their aggressiveness, and I don't even know if him being absent in that first quarter made a big difference. Obviously, they didn't complete on some of those hugs that they were looking for early, but I liked that motion that they were having. And then later on in the second quarter, we actually saw a lot more sloppiness. As Tuba pointed out, trying some of those really weird throws, throwing a 50-yard cross-field swing, those throws don't make sense. That's not what you're going to do against New York to beat them. They talked all morning about being aggressive, and so far we saw that early on, but in the second quarter they looked shell-shocked, and that aggressiveness really went away.
So Austin, 5 of 10 on hucks, just 50% completion there. Their completion rate, 83% overall. Their hold percentage, just 20%. How in the world does this Austin O-line find any way to reestablish consistency, confidence going into the second half?
Huck and hope. I don't think they have much of a chance, honestly. I think, we talked about it prior to the game, what the Huck percentage would have to be for Austin to hang in this one. I settled on 80. I mean, right now it's looking like maybe 90. They're really struggling to move the ball. We interviewed Henke before. He's a big player on their team. Antoine is completely shutting him down. They have very few guys who are aggressively going to get the disc. I don't think they really stand much of a chance against this enormous New York defense.
Ian, if I could jump in real quick, I think as a coach, what Coach Najee is probably telling the team is, hey, we got to settle down and we got to stabilize, right? Control the controllable. So it's going to be 1 point at a time. They've got to change their body language first, right? You saw a lot of people just looking really down, right? Which is understandable, but as a team, they've got to change their body language and what they're saying to each other. You know Coach Najee believes they can come back into this game. He's a very confident coach, but it's going to be 1 point at a time, going back to the fundamentals. Catch the disc, throw the disc. Look for the first open pass, keep it moving, right? Stay aggressive, and I think like Colin mentioned, aggressive is not only on offense, but also on defense as well, right? Looking at some other things to just throw off a little bit more rhythm on New York's offense.
No question, that could be a recipe for a comeback here. We have to give credit to New York where it's due. Jeff Babbitt has 6 goals. Marquez Brownlee has 2 assists. Antoine Davis has 3 assists to go along with 2 blocks. This is dominance up and down the roster. We're not seeing any exposure. There are no holes in this New York game. What in the world can anyone do to contain Jeff Babbitt or at least limit his impact?
Well, that's the thing, is that's the championship DNA that this team's developed over the last couple of years, right? It's not, it did look great early on. They had an absolutely terrible turnover to start the game, right? They handed a goal. Easy break immediately, but that championship DNA is what they pride themselves on, and they stabilize the ship, and that's something Austin hasn't been able to do yet. But to your point, so far, Babbitt's just taken over this game.
Antoine Davis has been absolute lockdown material on Kyle Henke. We haven't heard a peep from Kyle. John Randolph has been lockdown material, not only in the backfield, but getting the disc back downfield after a turnover. Where does this D-line have a fault? Is there anything that this team has a weakness in?
No, I don't think you find a fault really with this D-line. They create an enormous amount of pressure. Like we talked about in the pregame, they're very adept at scoring once they get the ball. I think the biggest thing where you would have to take advantage of New York is, getting to their O-line. Like we saw the first two breaks of the game from Austin. Getting to New York, I think New York's O-line is mortal, and I think they can get beat, but I think it's tough for another team to hold enough that New York's offense has to play that many points. Like they're just not, they don't have to play that often because their D-line is out there getting break after break after break.
Well, I just say quickly, the thing of it too is Ben Gotts done absolutely nothing in this game so far, and yet we're still talking about how their D-line is dominating. That says a ton. One of their best players has done absolutely nothing.
Tuba, New York coaching staff, 10 seconds. Anything they have to change going into the second half?
New York coaching staff?
Yeah.
I think the coaching staff is telling them to keep the pressure on, right? They're not taking for granted that they're up by a lot of points. Reset 0-0. Hey, we've got to stabilize a little bit better on offense. Defense, keep the pressure on. They believe this team can break even more, crumble even more in the second half. They're going to turn it up. They're going to keep it up to make sure they put this game away.
The New York Empire in control, 15-7. They have one half to go before they get a shot at a chance at a third championship, something no other team in the AUDL has done. Thanks for joining us here at half.
Been able to complete consistent passes. And they've been playing with lackluster energy on a turn. We'll see if it's been any different. I mean, what do you say in that halftime huddle? Because you really can't say much. It's got to come from players and some confidence coming through playmaking.
Desperation Scuba there from Switek to Fitzgerald. Antoine Davis has the stats, but he also has just shut down Kyle Henke. Henke had 6 completions in the first half, no goals, no assists. Now they're throwing to him deep, and he's got position, and that's the first deep, real chunk yardage grab for Kyle Henke, and he'll throw his first assist of the night to Duncan Fitzgerald.
A little bit of clear.
This third quarter.
Don't let the offensive line back on the field if you're Austin. Just keep playing your D-liners no matter what you do. It's just...
Artok angling it. For Oscar. That was pretty.
The New York offense is starting to look like the offense we've seen all season. Figuring out the wins. Figuring out when they can attack. Throwing a bit more edge on these hucks instead of trying to throw it out there flat, where we've seen the disc hang up in the air a little bit more. And nice play by Oscar, releasing into deep space. Such a dangerous two-way player on offense.
It's his first goal of the night. He had 2 assists in the first half. Gives the disc a little kiss. And look, if Elliot Chartok was on another team, we might talk about him more regularly. More frequently. Ryan, pretty scary for the opponent, even without the mask.
He's a hard man to stop.
Antoine Davis, right next to Kyle Henke as he made the catch, and Henke's throw floats over Noah Chambers and lands incomplete across the sideline. The 19th Austin turnover of the night. Metcalf picks up. Marquez Brownlee runs it down. And the Empire lead by 10 early here in the third quarter.
Well, we're starting to get that vibe that we had at last year's championship weekend, where the New York Empire came in and just blew by everyone.
With that said, there was never a feeling last year like this. I mean, Carolina and Chicago were both more competitive consistently than what Austin has been tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And the question is it more about Austin or is it more about New York? Obviously, the two can go hand in hand.
I think you got to give a lot of credit to the New York D-line and what they've been able to do. I mean, they're creating pressure, yes, but they're also coming up with big individual plays, layout Ds, run through blocks. The scheme is setting that up, and Austin has just had no answer.
It's a perfect fit for this defense. The scheme, the game plan, the players are all right in the right places. Ben Katz poaching in the lane, forcing tough throws, forcing Austin to work it over and over again. And guys who are getting open earlier in the year, Henke, Switek, aren't getting open easily. And when that happens, you're just forcing another tough throw over and over again until the piper comes and gets the block.
Evan Switek, 1 goal, no assists. He's also been quiet. Matt Armour has been one of the guys who hasn't looked scared at all. Here's Switek. To Fitzgerald. Here's Reese Bowman. Needs an option, finds Fitzgerald, and floats it into the end zone for Evans. It's the most deceptive stat of the night. The Austin Soul are now 7 for 7 in the red zone. That does say something, though, about how rarely they've gotten it into the red zone, considering the Empire have 17 red zone chances.
And it also shows you how much the Soul has struggled to score from, mid-range and hucks, because they have 9 goals in the game. 7 of those scores have come from red zone opportunities. When they've tried to take those shots, they've just simply never come up with them. And certainly they've had a lot of turnovers in the short field as well.
Mark Evans, national champion Australia many a time. Remember the Australian World Games team.
He's been solid. 2 goals and assists, just 1 turnover tonight. Kind of want to see him get more touches.
Brian, if you were coach in New York, try to imagine that situation. How would you approach the final, 18, 19 minutes of this game? Are you going hard? Are you mixing lines? Are you trying to run clock? Are you changing your game plan to find, not the same level of intensity? What are you doing?
I think you're in an interesting place, right? This game is definitely secure, and it's a question of, I would consider sitting Jeff Babbitt, right? With the health issues he's had, anybody that's a little banged up, you have another game to potentially win tomorrow, but you're in that hard place because you take your foot off the gas.
Looking for Williams. Dial with a soaring D. Brandon Dial with one of the better highlights of the night for the Austin Soul.
And we saw it back in 2019 in the first semifinal, built a big lead against Indy, and then let off the gas, and Indy got back in the game. And here, it's hard to imagine the game getting close. I think you play normal, sit Jeff, limit his minutes, but you only have a 20-person roster.
There's just not much to say about that for the Austin Soul. Not great. Oscar puts it in the right spot for Weinberg. Back for Jack Williams. Jack had that one inside break throw, kind of into the stiff wind, in the red zone when New York was really kind of wobbly in the first half. And that throw, I mean, that tied the game at 3.
Yeah, it's still 6.
Yeah.
Critical throw.
And he had, you know, Jack hasn't done a whole lot else tonight, but that big play early in the game when it was close. And now we're seeing Williams, like, just whenever he wants, he can turn it on. Williams to Weinberg to stretch the lead back to double digits.
And you just can tell how much more confident the Empire O-line is in what they're trying to do, going through the progressions, hitting the resets, being willing to work the disc. And this is what we've seen from them all season. They look very out of sorts at the beginning of this game, but really, since midway through the second quarter, it's been very smooth sailing for this Empire offense.
And such smooth sailing that it looks like they are indeed going to sit Jeff Babbitt.
Yeah, he's down the sideline in street clothes at this point. He's got his sneakers on. He's taking his cleats off, so they're shutting him down. And no surprise. I think what you said earlier, Brian, is exactly right. There's just no reason to push it when you know you want to be able to have it tomorrow. He's going to finish the game with
6 goals and 7 points.
Yeah. Leading the game in plus minus.
Evans sending Switek. Another opportunity for Randolph defensively. Switek gets the better of him this time. Contact call on Randolph. And looks like Switek wants to integrity rule it. He's standing in the middle of the end zone, so it doesn't make a big difference. Just allows the New York defense to get set. And yikes, that was risky, but it's caught by Evans. And that laser out of the hands of one soul, but into Reese Bowman's grasp after Zach Slayton flailed unsuccessfully.
Well, you take just about anything right now if you're Austin, so it all works out in the end.
This is more like it for Switek. I mean, he's led the team in receiving yards throughout the season, averaging 300, and until this point, he had about 700 receiving yards, and that's going to put him more towards that normal total of getting 300 per game. And he's been a monster for them all year long, and that's what they needed to have for Austin to stick with this game, was to have Switek, have Hanke making those plays. They've been few and far between. Look at the other side. I think we talk so much about Jeff Babbitt, Jack Williams, Ben Yott, all the stars, Ryan Oscar, but this handler core for the New York Empire, Elliot Chartock, Solomon Rushmeyer-Bailey, and even Charles Weinberg, not necessarily involved in the handler as much, but they have just been so steady, throwing confidently into this wind. And I think that's been a big difference, because the Austin defense has been good. The New York defense has been great.
Chartock looking for Yacht. He's got steps on Henke. And Elliot Chartock with just another exquisite throw.
My goodness. I mean, Yacht created some separation there, but it takes a truly elite throw to get a completion there against Henke. And this has to be thrown so hard with so much spin, because if it hangs up at all, it's going to be a possible play for Henke. And you can see Yacht gets a step, but Henke thinks no one's going to throw it on me. Yes, they are.
It's a thrower's win. It's a weird win. It feels like, oh, it's windy, I would be able to throw hucks. But sometimes you get a little bit of that headwind going against you. You can throw it as hard as you want to. You know you have to. Get the right spin that you talked about on it. And Chartock figured that out. That's what elite throwers do over the course of the game. The flags are still blowing in different directions when you look around the stadium. But I think the sun going down and going into the late portion of this game and then going to the next game, wonder if the wind's going to keep going, or we're going to get the same turnover fest and fluttering discs in our second semifinal.
Since throwing away his first toss of the night, Elliot Chartock has gone 27 for 27 since. A game-high 295 throwing yards with 3 assists. And the soul out of sync again The Empire can convert their lucky 13th break of the night. And why bother guarding Mike Drost?
That's embarrassing for the soul.
Travel ball on the throw, it's coming back.
That's fortunate because it's a bad turnover and it's worse defense after the turn. And you can understand their heads are down at this point. They're trailing by 11, but very poor.
Not down by 11 yet. That goal just came off the board, but it feels like they'll be down 11 momentarily. This New York team defeated Dallas in the 2019 championship game with Brian Jones as the head coach on the sidelines, and then 2021 back at championship weekend in DC. They lost a really incredible game against the Flyers where Matt Gushohannes, Saul Yannick, Eric Taylor, and the rest of that Carolina team had just one of the great clutch championship weekend possession performances of all time. Jake Radak shoots this one deep, testing Brownlee. And Marquez did enough. Misread a little bit by Zach Slayton. Lands incomplete. And then, of course, last year we had the championship weekend for the ages, or so we expected. We had 12-0 New York in the regular season against 3 teams that had just lost 1 game. And the Empire certainly showed themselves to be the class of the bunch. Looking like that again. Mike Drost going deep. Radak picks up quickly to Fitzgerald. As sloppy as the game has felt throughout the course of the night, I mean, we haven't had too many marathon points. Both teams have done a pretty good job converting their break chances, both over 50%, at least as this point began. Fitzgerald for Chambers.
And if you're the New York coaching staff, you're Charlie Hobbs and Anthony Nunez. You're totally fine with a long point like that one that burns clock while your star O-line players are on the sideline getting additional rest. You really want these points to kind of take as long as possible and get this game over with, because you're starting now to think about tomorrow. And obviously a sloppy point. It's really the second D-line for New York. Still causing turnovers.
Yeah, but that second D-line could be a lot of teams' first D-line.
Very potent. I think that's where the New York Empire have gotten the most better since not only last year's championship, but going back into 2021. Continuing to upgrade the bottom half of the roster and making that depth D-line one that actually gets breaks.
Here's Weinberg again, open as usual. Connecting with Oscar. Yeah, looks like he wants to go deep. Oscar wants to throw it. Back shoulder fade. Ben Yacht delivers.
Too small. Hits him with it.
I characterize that as a subdued celebration. Ben Yacht.
I mean, that's the line of what we want in terms of chippiness and the celebration. If you're willing to dish it out and be willing to take it, it gives the game a little bit of an edge. And yeah, let's play for the crowd as well.
That's just the second goal of the night. Yacht's goals have come in the last 3 minutes. More and more Minnesota fans going to be filing through the gates here at TCO Stadium in the next hour or so, about an hour away from start of their semifinal matchup against the Salt Lake Shred. Is it hard for those teams to focus on just their semifinal and not see what New York is doing here as the Empire Demolition Derby just sends Austin to the curb?
I doubt they even know what the score is right now.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're focusing on getting ready for their game. I mean, Brian, you've coached. How would you approach it?
I'd be watching this game.
But you know they have at least a member of the coaching staff watching. But what do you learn from this game besides the wins? I think that both teams will be thinking about how do we want to approach our game defensively.
Fitzgerald throws this one just a prayer, and Ryan drops with number 199, and he takes over the all-time lead in blocks, surpassing his brother Mike for the first time on the all-time AUDL leaderboard. Ryan joined the Empire in 2014, 1 year after brother Mike joined for the inaugural 2013 season. And Mike has had a lead in blocks the entire time because he had 41 Ds in that 2013 season. So he had a heck of a head start. And Ryan has caught him and now passed him for the moment.
It's incredible that they are still in this league getting blocks 10 years later.
He just turned 34 earlier this month. And the Twins enjoyed a Minnesota Twins game last night over at Target Field. They are Twins fans because they are twins. And it was a big deal for them to get to go to a Twins game as part of this championship weekend experience.
Definitely got to get the picture in front of the stadium.
Randolph cross field looking for Katz, and Wiley rips it down. The Soul had 7 seconds, and a quick timeout taken from Stephen Nagy. And they add a couple seconds back onto the clock. He threw the timeout flag immediately on the Wiley interception.
Still got it with the fake countdown. You could hear it from the sideline, and John Randolph fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
Put it up deep. There was the 5 count came with about 15 seconds on the clock. So, I like Stephen Nagy calling this timeout here. You know, you could just let it run out. You're down 10. You're probably not going to make it back in the game, but he's thinking, no, I want to see if we can steal one here at the end of the third quarter and play all the way to the final buzzer.
Aside from Andrew McRae, Coach Beard, as they call him out in LA, I'm not sure any better beards among coaching staffs in the league than Najee's. He hadn't shaved since the Soul's last loss, but I imagine we'll see him clean shaven tomorrow in the hotel, perhaps. That's usually his style. He lets it grow until he loses. Fitzgerald throws up this prayer, and it's caught by Fay, who tries to greatest it. He didn't need to. He had time. Oliver Chartok gets the gift of a block at the buzzer. And the Austin Soul, well, after the opening couple of points, it's been that kind of a night. It's a 10-goal lead for the New York Empire as we head to the fourth quarter. Empire win that third period 6-4 after they led 15-7 at the half. 12 minutes on the clock. When we come back, Austin will continue to fight. There's only so much you can do against this New York team that's rolling toward a 29th consecutive win.
CO Stadium, where the outcome of this first semifinal is not in doubt. Ian Toner, Alex Atkins, Tuba Benson, Jaja, Colin Camp. Alex, Austin's down by 10. We were hearing Stephen Nagy preach the gospel of confidence this morning in the press conference. How do you explain this performance from the Austin Soul right now?
Yeah, I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about heart, talking about there's no effort. No, they are simply outmatched. They don't have the roster to compete
1 quarter away from our second semifinal of the evening. There's a lot of speculation involved in this question, but based on what we know about Minnesota and Salt Lake and the dominance we've seen from New York this game, is there anything either one of those two teams can do to shake New York in a potential championship matchup?
I mean, for me, I see this as the perfect type of weather. If this weather stays up, that plays in the hands of Minnesota not only for tonight.
And when you say the weather, you mean the gusty, swirly, windy conditions down there.
Yep, so this wind plays in the hands of Minnesota right now. But then also, if they go on to win tonight, it would play in the hands of them tomorrow as well against New York. And that will really give them an opportunity to pull off what would be the biggest upset of all time in league history.
Thanks so much for joining us here. Fourth quarter, right around the corner. Let's get you back up to Evan and crew in the booth.
New York 21, Austin 11, as we head to the fourth quarter. So we'll begin this fourth quarter on offense. Kyle Henke with a laser that Evans sort of gave up on for a moment, and he tried to turn the Jets back on. Incomplete.
I'll tell you what, this is one of the most fun games to be a part of the D-line when you're in New York. No timeout is coming. You get to play all the points you want. You get to throw whatever you want without any consequences.
Through 3 quarters, the New York D-line 12 for 19 on great chances. Here's Ryan Drost. Double team coming, and he just coolly hammers it for Oliver Chartok.
I mean, they're definitely going to talk some trash to the O-line if they outscore them, which right now they are. 12 goals for the D-line, 9 for the offense.
How about that? That's really astonishing stuff on this stage. Josue Aloro looking for Ryan Drost. Evan Switek can't make it. Another goal for Ryan.
I mean, it's a little taste of Austin's own medicine, too. I mean, we've seen New York attacking with blades and shots across the field to the weak side shoulder. And we've seen that from Austin all season, and it really helped them get the wins against Carolina and Atlanta. And it's just coming right back to them, and just no help defense over there. Just one-on-one, you throw it to the outside shoulder, and great play by Drost to hold his position.
And they're just leaving the Ross out there. You're ready to play.
Well, they want to get to 200 blocks. They want to be out there for every point from here on out.
If you have the legs, they're going to play their depth right now and save whatever they can for tomorrow. And Mike and Ryan, they love to play. They're betters. I mean, that's the thing about them, right? They become household names in the UDL for the amount of blocks they have. And they've been unassuming, but the thing is, it's just the way they compete, they're not afraid of anybody they go against. You love having them on your team. They find ways to be disruptive with their heads-up play, and they just keep coming.
Well, it's obviously been a very tough game for the Soul.
There's number 200 for Ryan Drost. Getting the underneath block on Oliver Fay, the first to 200 blocks in AUDL history. Just as you were talking about, you leave him on the field, he'll keep making plays.
And he's not even celebrating yet. He's trying to finish this out with the bookends.
Empire fans in the crowd certainly realize the history we just saw. Ryan Drost in his 123rd career game. He's recorded his 200th career block, and Ben Katz punctuates the point. Ryan is talking to his brother Mike right now.
How about that? It's been a fun battle all season long. gets across the number.
And Mike's back out there again. He doesn't want to be outdone.
Apparently we missed one earlier tonight. That's officially his third block of the evening, so that's his 201st block, according to the official stats. (23-11). We knew that this was a possibility, but just the way that it has happened, with Austin jumping out to the 2-0 lead, and New York looking so shaken in the opening minutes, and then to just boomerang back with such ferocity and power, the way they have, and frankly for Austin to fold the way that they did. Oh goodness. Brandon Dial went up in the air and was kind of undercut by Josue Aloro. And the collision that neither really looked like they were expecting, and it looked like Aloro took the worst of it. Brandon Dial trying to make a play. He was certainly the one that initiated the contact here, I think. This is just one of those tricky plays in ultimate with two guys going for the disc.
Yeah, it kind of looked like Dial jumped into Aloro. We didn't hear a whistle for a foul. Just obviously there's a stoppage for the injury here as Aloro's.
They just signaled an unsportsmanlike conduct against Dial.
I think this isn't a malicious play by Dial. I think what happened is the disc floated and changed directions. And you see both players hesitating. Dial saw him go for it underneath, but well, you hope he's okay. That's a tough one, definitely unexpected. You don't have a chance to prepare yourself for the contact. I mean, to be clear, it's worthy of a sportsmanlike penalty.
Sure, but you're saying it wasn't a malicious play. I agree with that. Now, Charlie Hoppus is upset because he's got a key defender out there who's now taking a knock when they're up big.
And just watching it in real time, it looked like that disc floated in a way that changed directions.
Laura, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 block tonight.
See it again here. He kind of tries to stay underneath as Dial goes up. I don't even know if Dial anticipated that Aloro was going to come into his lane as he was going up in the air there. He's back on his feet.
What kind of players Josue Aloro to be around, Brian?
He's a competitor. He's been such an athlete.
We're trying, Josue, we're trying.
And he made a key block in the 2019 championship game against Abe Coffin, going up for it. He's always been a fantastic handler defender and really elevated his game in multidimensional ways. We've seen him throw great shape over the course of this game. And hopefully he's okay. There's a temporary timeout here on the field. Charlie Hoppus has pulled his players back to the sideline.
Well, there's certainly a strange feel to this game right now. I mean, if you're the Empire, you want to think about tomorrow. You've got to play the final 9-19. You've got a 12-goal lead. Looks like Ryan Anderson, the athletic trainer, is doing a concussion check, something that he's all too familiar with. They went on Jack Williams during the East Division final in the second half, and he got dinged.
Yeah, I'm sure Aloro will not play the rest of this game either way. I think it's more about what's going to happen tomorrow, because if he fails that concussion test, he won't be able to play tomorrow. And he definitely, he was down for a long time. I'd be surprised if he wasn't concussed, to be honest.
Our coverage of ABDL Championship Weekend is presented by Manscaped, the official grooming partner of the ABDL, the ultimate grooming experience for the ultimate athlete. Visit manscaped.com to see their full suite of grooming products today. It is also presented by The Ultimate. Elevate your game with The Ultimate's premium performance-based apparel. These cutting-edge jerseys are expertly crafted with flat lock seams and quick-dry materials that will keep you comfortable and performing at your best, no matter the conditions. Level up your game and visit shop.theultimate.com today. And we're also presented by TNNS, building a better future for athletes, sports, and entertainment brands. Right now, what is happening is that they are cleaning up some of the remnants of the injury on the field.
Yeah, we saw Lauro get sick while he was on the ground. So they're finishing that up and the players coming back on the field. Hope he's okay. He's had a great game.
If you're the Empire, only bad things can happen from here on out. And so you have to wonder, I mean, there's always a talk about, do you play keep away at all? But nope, we're going to keep on scoring.
Jeff home to Oliver Chartop in a blink of an eye.
Talk about two guys that fill out the depth of this roster. Oliver Chartop has improved his game so much, going to the point where he can be a trusted O-line player and playing great on defense. He's always had the throws, but he's upped his athleticism. The work he put in the offseason to be there. And the same thing with Jeff Holm. Just putting in the work. And when you're 6'5" and can throw like that, it's pretty to watch.
That's the 15th break of the night for the New York Empire. Most they had in game all season was 12.
Yeah, the thing about Oliver Chartop is that he's often the first guy that gets pulled over to the O-line when they need a replacement. We saw him play offense against DC, and that versatility has been huge. I mean, he could play on the O-line every single week if they wanted to do that.
He was on the bench last year for championship weekend, watching close up, but not in the game, and now he's a contributor in multiple ways.
Most blocks the Empire have had in franchise history. Brian, you may want to turn off your earphones from 18 three times. 2 of them were against the infamous Rochester Dragons.
I would say I remember those games, but I don't at all. I've erased them from memory, like Austin might after today.
If you're Austin, you could watch the first 3 minutes of this game on a loop, just over and over and over again. And enjoy that opening statement in championship weekend, because it unraveled fast from there. Radak to Fitzgerald, kind of a half-hearted backhand to Slayton. To make it 24-12 with 8 and change left.
You know, you got to give Austin credit for getting to this game. Basically, nobody except themselves expected that they would be here at championship weekend for the first time.
And the 2 teams that they beat to get here are legit.
Very legit. Teams that we would have had in the conversation as maybe having a chance to upset New York. And they took care of Carolina at home, and then they went on the road and beat an Atlanta team that had looked so good all season at the top of the South Division.
And yet this has to be really hard for the Hustle to watch if they're watching at all.
I mean, you have to give Stevie Nagin credit, a ton of credit, to get them here. The 3-year plan, the belief in everything.
And they literally, I mean, they're not going to complete the 3-year plan with a championship victory, but this is clearly a step forward. And after such a weird season, you know, they lose to Carolina and Atlanta every time they play them during the regular season. They have to play the bottom feeder Texas teams for most of their games. And I don't think that that schedule does them any favors because it doesn't prepare them for playing a team like New York.
Schedules can be cyclical. You see the block there. Miley got a piece of the Oscar backhand. I mean, last year, Austin had the tougher schedule in the division. There was no Houston. We didn't know going into the season that Dallas was going to descend the way they did. Called a foul there, and Oscar got it back and then throws the goal to Bailey. And Austin last year had a road trip to Chicago and Madison that they split. They narrowly edged Atlanta for the final playoff spot in the South in a year that only 2 teams made the playoffs. Different story this year for the Austin Soul in many ways. Very different feel of the season from start to finish. My goodness, just this New York team, 7 minutes and 28 seconds away from their 29th consecutive win. And if they win tomorrow, they would match the Mark Lloyd early Toronto Rush teams that won their first 30 games when they started in the league in 2013 and 2014. And, I mean, it's hard. You guys were both around the league in 2013 and 2014. Like, it's a different sport that's being played now compared to what was being played then.
Completely.
Completion percentages were in the 80s for the Toronto Rush when they were going undefeated.
That's you're not even in the conversation with completion percentages of the 80s these days.
You're below 95%. You're not an elite offense.
That does speak a little bit to the way that offense has changed in Ultimate in general. Possession-based approach has become a much bigger factor.
Another hut from Fitzgerald, floating for Swiatek to run it down.
On the sideline, I think Steven Nagy and the Austin bench has got to be thinking, if only we had this kind of thing happening earlier in the game. A couple of great shots here in the fourth quarter. Awesome concentration. Swiatek bringing it down.
Earlier in the press conference today, they talked about, we didn't come here to just get a moral victory. It doesn't matter if we're going to lose by 2 or lose by 10. There's a little bit of prophecy there, unfortunately.
The problem is they just didn't really have any option to go to solve what was ailing them.
I'll tell you what, though. There's a couple of guys here in this D-line for Austin that are still giving it everything. Joey Wiley out there, he's a phenomenal defender. And he's only one player in this moment, but he's still giving everything he got, putting forth that effort, and that's something to be proud of.
Williams gets it back to Oscar in the middle. Wiley got a piece of that forehand. Still found Weinberg, the intended target. Quick little give and go with Elliott Chartok.
You know, you asked earlier, Evan, what could Salt Lake or Minnesota be learning from this game? And Austin's defense has been good.
What about it?
They've done a really good job of disrupting New York's rhythm with flat marks, not allowing them to get the easy deep shots early on. And New York has worked their way through it, but they've still gotten opportunities. And even here, you can feel the pressure building. And a throw to
Excellent handler defense from Matt Armour forces the throw to nobody downfield. Nick Walter picks up and turfs it back in. What stands out to you both about the general spacing of the Empire offense and the way they attack?
They did do a great job of keeping the space, especially in the front of the stack. As Osgar tries to show
makes the adjustment.
But they do a great job of spacing. And just, it's been talked about in a lot of different ways over the years, triangle, isolation, and really comes down to the ability of these guys like Chartok to break the mark consistently and to hit dangerous spaces. That opens up so many of these types of throws for Ryan Oscar, where he can play downfield.
I think the versatility of their lineups is also a big piece. You have guys like Jack Williams and Ryan Oscar who can go back and be a pure handler, or who can go down and be a deep cutter. That gives them options when things aren't going right. And we saw them have to make those adjustments early in the first quarter after giving up a couple of breaks. They started to figure out, okay, well, we need to get this to Oscar in the middle, let him distribute from there, and then things smoothed out very nicely.
I asked Jack Williams in the press conference what was the best offense he's played with, 2019, 2021, 2022, etc. And he said today. I mean, this offense this season, they know each other really well. They have that chemistry. They can work through the problems. They have great spacing. Charles Weinberg could be a #1 option for a lot of other teams. And he's playing a really small, narrow role, but he does it really well.
Last time there was a blowout of this proportion in championship weekend, you got to go all the way back to 2014 when Toronto pummeled New York 31-16 at Varsity Stadium. And of course, the Rush pummeled one day later by Bowman Ashland's San Jose Spiders. Reese Bowman gets one more goal for his championship weekend experience.
I think Mike Dross was thinking he was going to pick up a block there, and not his luck.
Well, we're seeing the Austin goal. One nice thing to see is that Jose Audl is back on the field. See him leaving the frame. He played that point.
That's great news.
I'm surprised he's on the field, but maybe he got cleared, they wanted to get him out there, let him run around and see how he felt.
You got to wonder, right? You can speculate all you want about that injury. You get hit like that unexpectedly, the wind can get knocked out of you. A lot of things can happen. And it was a heavy collision, so you can think back, you think maybe he's rolled up ankle. But he got up on his own power.
Yeah.
And he gets cleared. And like you said, Evan, Ryan Anderson, the trainer for the Empire staff, has a lot of experience dealing with concussions.
And the medical staff has been very good for the New York Empire. I mean, they did not clear Jeff Babbitt to play in the DC game, although he'd been previously cleared the night before, and then they said, you know what, no, he's not ready. And so, got a lot of trust.
And the O-line's done for the night for New York.
Yeah, I think up 12 with under 4 to go, you can give up a couple breaks and it's not a big deal.
Marquez Brown, you can tell you wanted to shoot it for Antoine Davis. Instead, it's back for Katz. And that one eludes Oliver Chartok. Quickly, Fitzgerald shooting it. Stradowski chased by the much smaller Katz. And Stradowski, after a couple lunges, skies Katz, who's arguing that there was a foul, and he's not going to win the argument.
I mean, there may have been a little contact, but I don't think you're going to get that call when you're up now 11 goals late in the fourth. Katz definitely gets positioned. Look at the height mismatch here. Stradowski misses on the first go, a little bit of a bump, and I don't know. Ben Katz felt some contact, but that's not foul.
He's trying to play the box-up game himself, and Stradowski actually does a good job of scoring right.
So a lot of smiles on the Soul sideline, and I think you can understand that. They knew that this was going to be a very tall task. No matter what they said in the press conferences about belief that they weren't going to give up any breaks and they weren't going to have to cross over any players, you know, by the end of the first quarter, it was clear where this game was headed, and at this point, they're just going to be able to enjoy the rest of championship weekend. And it's got to be seen as a very successful season.
Well, it seems like everybody on the New York Empire roster is getting an opening this game. But I agree with you, Charlie. It is a successful season, and it's one of those things where you got to love the belief, even against the odds and even against this bad performance that they're going to want back. what they've done to this program, is monumental. A team that was a bottom feeder, nobody took seriously.
Not too shabby of an offensive point for this patchwork Empire line as Mike Drost scores another goal for the Drost family.
People walking, it's just lounging on the side of the field. A stretching circle has begun.
27-15. And it doesn't really feel that close.
It does not.
Ryan's got 2 goals and 2 blocks. Mike has 3 goals. I think this D-line's going to be like, hey, just let us play every point in the first quarter tomorrow. Just keep it rolling. And rest the O-line until the second quarter.
When you think about Austin's future prospects, and this is a young team. This isn't old. This is not their window closing. And
what do they learn from tonight?
I think it's going to take some while for the stink to wear off from this game, but it can be really motivating to know, hey, we were really close, but we got to find a way to get better.
And their defense is already at a point where you can see even a small improvement would have them becoming one of the best D-lines in the league. It's going to be about the offense.
New York's Japanese no-mark zone that we're seeing right here.
Well, you want to burn clock.
Yeah.
And so you just want to make them throw a lot of passes here and try to finish this game up. And you don't really want to end up in one-on-one situations where you're laying out and risk an injury.
Davis tipped it, but Evans on the bobble recovers. Radak. And finally, the Soul punch it in. Now it's a timeout call.
Well, obviously, Brian, the New York Empire had plenty of time to start thinking about what they're going to do tomorrow. The coaches are probably already thinking about it. We're just trying to get through this game and get anything else to happen here. But as they start to think about tomorrow, do you think there's adjustments that they're going to need to make in terms of their offense?
I think so. I think they're going to have an opportunity to show up a little bit earlier tomorrow and get some throws in. The wind is just a factor. And it's going to be for whoever they play tomorrow. And they have to make some adjustments off of that. And they figured, I think, a lot of it out, but it's just reiterating it's not major changes. But offensively, yeah, you want to get a little bit better. I mean, you went from 4 turnovers to how many in this game? 4 turnovers, best performance in league history to 16. That's not what you want.
Yeah, that's 9 coming from the O-line.
And so there's still room for them to play a better game. And Salt Lake, if they do face the winner of that game, if Salt Lake is going to proceed, that's a team that can play a great game against New York. I think Salt Lake is legitimate. We saw that in the first game. They lost by 4 at the end of the day, but they stayed right.
But they were hanging in that game.
That was closer than the final score indicated.
They had great chances. They got a quiet game from Jordan Kerr. But the Shred are going to have to pass the test of playing against a hostile crowd.
I'm curious what we're going to see from Grant Lindsley tonight and if they win tomorrow. I mean, he's such a great player. He's had such a tremendous career. He's been such a great big game player, as Brian certainly remembers. 2019. One of the iconic performances at championship weekend for New York. Austin fans celebrating, but it is going to be a hollow celebration tonight for the Soul. 34 and a half seconds left. And New York's 29th consecutive win.
Chasing 30.
As the 2018 playoffs were beginning, New York was 56-37 all time as a franchise. Good, but not great. 56-37. Since then, they've gone 59-4, including tonight's dominant victory over the Soul. 59-4 over the last half decade.
They don't like losing very much.
But no one likes losing very much, and yet you can only win if someone loses. So it's a zero-sum game.
And it's a credit to the coaching staff over that time frame, ownership, investing in bringing in great players. I mean, this has been the most talented roster in the league for at least 2 years, if not 3. And they have a chance to become a dynasty.
10 seconds away from victory number 29 in a row. New York was down 2-0, but they were dominant after that, and the Empire are headed back to the ADL Championship game for the 4th consecutive season. 27-17. The Empire dismantled the Austin Soul.
A defensive masterclass from the Empire.
Dream start and a nightmare end. Good night, Austin. It was a good season until now.
Soul fans appreciating their team. But it's all Empire.
Jeff Babbitt leading the handshake line, walking in his sneakers. He already took the cleats off a long time ago. And New York will shift their focus to either the Salt Lake Shred or the Minnesota Wind Chill. And members of those teams are already starting to trickle onto the field to get their warm-ups in for our nightcap here in Minnesota.